everyone, I'm Denisha Devnarayan, and you're watching the Full Quota podcast on One World Sports Radio.
Hello, and welcome to another episode, another podcast of the Full Quota podcast on One World Sports Radio. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're live right now, so send through your comments to a cricketing show, South African cricketing show. We have a podcast today. We spoke up with Mangi on Tuesday, so please check that out. Mangaliso Mosehle, one of the better glovemen in the country. Please do check that out and let us know what you think. But most importantly, please do like and subscribe to the podcast. Not to the channel, One World Sports Radio. We're bringing you rugby content over the weekend. It's the live game. I'll be doing commentary with Otto on the 100th test match between the Springboks and the All Blacks. But we're not talking about rugby. We're talking cricket today. Most importantly, we're talking the CSA T20 Knockout Competition, which starts this new era in South African cricket. We've gone on the days of franchise cricket. I don't think for too long. I think we might see franchise cricket again, but enter the new era of provincial cricket. I've got Tim here to discuss it all. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, looking forward to our season officially getting starting on the domestic front. Looking forward to seeing the games.
Yes, most importantly, well, we start with a big one, and we'll tell you all about it. But a little bit about the CSA T20. It's now become a provincial tournament in South African sports across pretty much all the main sports. There are 15 provinces, and we'll talk about the 15 provinces. But because it's a knockout, you need a 16 team, so they've added SA under 19. All 15 provinces plus SA under 19 will have an opportunity to win the first trophy in this new era. It's a T20 tournament, so a nice little way to start it off. But Tim, what do you think of what's been happening so far in preparation to the season? How has CSA done things? Because that's the other thing. Previously, everyone was haggling about how badly CSA ran the domestic cricket. So far, anything looking good?
I'm going to focus on the positives for a change. I know I tend to focus on the negatives a bit too much. I'm going to focus on the positives. I'm going to say I would say 12 of the 15 sides have done a tremendous job on the social media point of things. Whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they've kept you up to date with their teams, with their announcements, kit launches, whatever you want to know. If you're following them, and if you're not, I think it's a really good thing. It's something that I think's been lacking in the previous years. It's always been the top 2 or 3 sides dominating that side of things, but everybody is up their game. So if you're interested in cricket, if you're interested in South African cricket, you should pretty much know at least the teams that are going to be involved, if not the finer detail. So from that point of view, I think it's a really good thing. It's really good to see.
So I'm going to ask you to name and shame the 3 that aren't doing well. We're going to leave SA under 19 alone because that's the CSA account. And by the way, CSA, we still want to see that team list. But who are the other 3 that haven't done well?
Perhaps I'm being a little bit harsh, but I think it's taken Inyati a bit. Taken them this last week. It's taken them a long while. This last week they've been good, but leading up to it they were a bit behind the 8 ball. The same with the Northwest, which is a bit surprising. I thought they were not doing as much as I would expect.
They had a season launch a couple of days ago.
Yeah. So, but it's the that when we first came up with the whole structure was strange. Everybody sort of came together, and it was easier for other teams. So it's much easier for the Lions and the Knights, for example. The Knights upped their game considerably. I think they were really, really poor when they were in the franchise structure, but they've really upped their game. They've obviously got good people in there to doing the social media, which is good.
Has the Warriors team found their password and resurrected their account? Because even in the domestic season last year, like the Warriors were not that active.
It's a good point.
And was that the other team?
Yes, it was. Let me put it this way. A lot of the players have been very, very good. So that when something's been going on, they've done it on a personal level. But on the official, it's very difficult because I'll tell you a personal story. I got caught out. So I tried to put a tweet out with all the links for all the sites. And I left out the lines. I tried to find out all these other teams. There were 3 or 4 teams that didn't have a Twitter handle, or they used it for the last time they used it was about 3 years ago. I'm not going to mention any names on that one, but I left out the lines. That certain somebody from Lines was not very happy.
Yes, I was not very happy too, Tim. Don't worry about that. I'm with that person. So now we're going to be talking about the tournament and the structure. Obviously, there is the CSA Knockout. So let's just have a little bit about the structure. The structure is the 16 teams are going to be split into 4 groups. Because we're still in the COVID world, it's done 4 bubbles. So each group is in a pod. The tournament's played in Bloemfontein and in the Northern Cape, with the finals being in the Northern Cape. So each week, essentially, each 5 days, a new set of group of teams will go into a pod. So we're going to start off this weekend with Group A in Kimberley. On Tuesday, we start with Group B in Bloem. The following week, Monday, Group D in Kimberley, and then we go back to Group C playing in Bloem. So that's how it's going to happen. We'll show you the groups right now. And obviously it's T20. Top 2 teams in each group qualify, and they go through, and then they play one-off single elimination games to the finals. That's essentially what it is. It's not as long as the IPL. I do apologize. Definitely not as long as the Big Bash. But
which I'm glad about.
I don't want a T20 tournament to be too long, so I think it's just the right amount of length. But let's go through. And it'll be broadcast on SuperSport and also around the world. But on free-to-air television, as you tell me, Tim. But I'm not happy about it because it should be free to air in South Africa. It makes no sense that when you're playing a provincial tournament, that majority of the people in the country don't get to see the cricket. And yes, SuperSport's fun, great. They fund the game. We love them. Beautiful, great. But there is one downside of having SuperSport have all the rights, is that you are literally denying the majority of the country the ability to watch games. And they don't need to see all the games. Just give them one game a day. Like, for instance, Friday, there's a very tasty game I'd like to see, and I think the rest of the country would like to see. I know Tim and I would love to see that, because that's going to set the tone for how we engage with each other for the rest of the season. So, yeah. Okay, let's go into the groups. Right. So it's a knockout tournament. So let's go through the groups. So done is we've got the groups here. So Group A and essentially Group B have the home sides. Group A has the Northern Cape Heat, which for some people who previously would know, that is the Northern Cape, also known as Griquas. If you want to be that pedantic, essentially, or go back 20 years time. So the 6-gun Grill Southwestern Districts, which effectively it's that Oudtshoorn area of the Western Cape province, one of the 3 Western Cape sides. Southwestern District kind of tells you where it is. The Imperial Lions, they are the Central Gauteng, also known as the Lions franchise. They play at the Wanderers. You've got the 6-gun Grill Western Province in Group A. So you have a tasty Southwestern Districts Western Province Western Cape battle that can happen, and that will happen in Group A. Group B has a newbie, a province that hasn't played a lot of cricket, but we're happy that they now are fully in. That is the Mpumalanga Rhinos. They'll be playing out of White River this season. You've also got the Hollywood Bet Tuskers. It's interesting that in KZN, or they're the KZN inland team. The coastal team is the Dolphins, the Tuskers, which is pretty much a symbol for an elephant. They're the inland side. So, and then you've got the iTech Knights, similar, the Free State, similar to the Knights franchise. They just rebranded and kept the Knights name. And then you still have the Momentum Multiplied Titans, which is the Northern Gauteng franchise, also known as Northerns. That's Group B. Group C, you've got the Eastern Storm, which is Eastern Gauteng on my side of the world. Benoni is their home ground if you wanted to find out. The SA Under-19 team have no home. This is their home. It's South Africa. And so they're the ones that have been invited to play. Then you've got the Northwest Dragons, who play out of Potchefstroom. They're a sneaky good side. And they split with the Lions franchise. So the Lions franchise was them, Northwest, and Central Gauteng. So a lot of the Lions players, some of them have moved across to Northwest. And then you got the Hollywood Bets Dolphins, which is KZN Coastal. Them and the Tuskers formed what was known as the Dolphins, but the Dolphins keep their brand name and they go with KZN Dolphins on the coast. And then you have the Eastern Cape Linyati, who are border. And that is a province that is East London side in the Eastern Cape. Then you've got the Limpopo Impalas. That's another franchise I'm happy to see, province to see. That's up in the north in Limpopo. They used to be part of the Titans franchise, but they've split out. And then you also then have the G-Bets Warriors, which is the Warriors franchise, but they'll be based out of Gqeberha. And then you've also got the G-Bets Rocks, which is Boerland, based out of Paarl, similarly to the Paarl Rocks franchise that we've all known in MSL. So those are the teams in each of the groups. Tim, now we have Group A and B fixtures. Let's look at them and then we'll discuss them. Then we'll look at the squads. So the fixtures for this weekend, if this thing can show, yes, are as follows. On Friday, we have a massive game. Western Province against the Lions, North-South derby. I know the Titans will say they're the North-South derby, but it actually isn't. It is the Lions in Western Province. And then you have the Northern Cape Heat against the Southwestern District. And then everybody starts playing each other as they go through. And then we've got some Group B fixtures that start on Tuesday as well, with the Knights playing the Titans first up. I like the fact that all the Division 1 teams in each of the groups play first. But yeah, some interesting fixtures happening this weekend. It's Friday, it's Saturday, and it's Sunday. It's a long weekend in South Africa. You'll get a lot done. Top 2 make it through into the groups. Tim, what fixtures are you looking forward to in this Group A?
In this particular group, you can't look beyond tomorrow's game. You just can't. You can't look at that. Look at those players. Even with the players not involved, because there's not going to be any coaches that are in the World Cup squad in either of the squads. They're still good, solid squads. And you'd say that they're both going to go through to the next round, but you can't really look beyond that fixture.
I kind of wanted that fixture to be the last fixture of the weekend, to kind of have it build up to like a crescendo, to be like, here we go, the 2 best teams, Sunday or even Saturday afternoon, when everybody's eyes are on there just after playing New Zealand and SA. You put that there. So from a planning perspective, I'd be like, CSA, be a little bit more creative. Look at the windows for TV windows, so you can get the most eyes on. Yes, it is a public holiday tomorrow, so that kind of gives people an opportunity to maybe have a lazy morning and watch.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think that's what came into it. Tomorrow's a public holiday. There's going to be a lot of people at home. People are still working from home in the majority in South Africa. I could see an argument for both with the Friday or the Sunday, but I think that was the thinking. And I'm not gonna. I could fault CSA in many things, but I'm not gonna fault them there.
Okay. Now let's look at the squads, and then let's have a look see at the squads. We'll give you all 4 of the squads in Group A, and then next week we'll do Group B and see as they come along. So if you look at the 6-gun grill Western Province here, Tim, you've got Parnell, you've got Verena, You've got Jonathan Bird, who I think a lot of the batting responsibilities might come to him, along with Tony DeZorzi, Zubair Hamza. You've got some very experienced teams. It kind of feels to me, Tim, with Western Province, if you look at this lineup, last season, Western Province was one of the youngest teams to play in that domestic season. Now they've gone a whole 360 and they've literally lined it up with very experienced campaigners. Parnell, Mkijima, you've got Verena,
Hendricks.
you've got Hamza, you've got Björn Hendricks there, and Andre
Hendricks.
Berger. It looks very left arm seamish, but you have other ideas.
No, I think they've gone the South African way, the Proteas way. We're going to win this with our bowling attack. Our bowling attack and our top four. That is essentially what they've said. And Faik Davids in the press conference that he had, he pretty much said that. He pretty much said, we like the balance of our bowlers. He didn't say I like the balance of his batters. He said I like the balance of our bowlers. He likes the left arm pacers. He likes the Carl Simmons coming in, who's been around the system. He's been around Western Province cricket for a long time. He made it emphatic that the strength in that side, and everybody knows it, is that bowling. They're going to have six bowling options at the top four, as you said, with Hamza, Verena, and company.
Yeah, and that middle order is going to be a little bit untested. I'm sure guys like Daniel Smith will be getting games. He's a SA under-19 player as well. Yes.
Can I just get on there? Just because I was at the press conference. This is what disappointed me. There are no Proteas for the World Cup squad. So there are teams that are missing players, obviously.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a perfect opportunity for your 19-year-old, your 20-year-old to come in and make a man of yourself. Faik Davids at the press conference basically said he's backup. Daniel Smith is backup. If somebody has a problem, he comes in. Now that really upsets me.
Disappointing.
That really upsets me because Daniel Smith's been doing smashing runs at schools cricket, club cricket, at every level that he's played at. This is the perfect tournament to give somebody like that a chance. So I hope that he will have to rethink that as the tournament goes on. But that's the way it seems at the moment, anyway.
Okay. Well, the likes of Daniel Smith, Jordan Wolf, Mihlali Mpongwana, who's a young fast bowler, all 20-year-olds in that side. Might not get possibly our backup, but I think they're quite capable at this level. Yves Kamanzi is someone I'd like to see. I think we all know Carl Simmons, we all know Avio Mkijima in terms of the spin bowling. And when I looked at all these squads, I was like, who the spinners are. I know who the fast bowlers are. Bashir Walters is elite. Well, not necessarily elite, but he's a journeyman in this. Yeah, he's very experienced. Parnell's there. And even Wayne Parnell batting at 5, in top 6 is something that could possibly make the South African selectors think something different. And that's for me is something that I'm excited to see in this Western Province side. Now let's move on to the side they're playing, my home side. That is the Lions. Well, technically my home side is Easterns, but I'm taking Lions. I've always been a Lions supporter. You've got Rickleton as captain and wicketkeeper, which I loved. I'm happy about. Dom Hendricks is someone who many think is a longer form batsman, but I think will come through. The interesting thing that I'm happy to see are these youngsters. Shane Dadswell, monster hitter. Was a monster hitter for Pika. He played in the Black Widow tournament here in Gauteng, the club tournament. He was insane. Clearing the boundary at will. So he's going to be quite important. Mitch van Buren, same thing, probably even opening with Ryan Rickleton at the top. I would love to see that combination together, batting together there at the top. I love Josh Richards. Lots of youngsters there. And then you get some of and Akami LaRue, left arm seamer, very quick. Love him with Ruan Hausbrook as an all-rounder. But then you get the experience. You've got Sisanda Magalo, who's probably one of the best fast bowlers in this tournament for South Africa. You've also got Ayam Yoli. You've also got Malusi Siboto. And there's a name missing. I think that's Duan Olivier, whose name is missing. I just need to check my thing. I think I may have left out Duan Olivier from there because I did see him over the weekend. So I was like, okay, maybe he is in. But for me, the big question, obviously, with this team, there's not a lot of Proteas. They're all at the World Cup or not playing, just watching this tournament. But my thing about it is that it's actually weaker. So that first game, I actually think Western Province will win. I think because a lot of the guys in the side are the Central Gauteng's provincial players. So there might be a little bit of a step up when you're coming up against the likes of, actually Duan Olivier is not playing this weekend. But if you come up against the likes of the better players, the franchise players at Western Province, who effectively it is like this is the type of team you would see in a domestic franchise tournament. So there's that the question of that level up for these guys, and as to whether this could be the kickstart to their career. That's exciting. And I don't see the Lions getting knocked out by the other two teams, but the other issue is that I don't see the Lions going deep into the tournament. And we'll talk about that later on, because Group A and B have, from a Division 1, it's Western Province, Gauteng, Titans, and the Knights. That's very strong. The other group has Warriors, Northwest, who are the other? Coastal and KZN Coastal and the Paul Rocks. The Paul Rocks. Yes, and I think that's a much better bracket to be in. But yeah, it's when I look at the side, I'm like, okay, then they're gonna struggle to defend their title. And that's something that I think as Lions fans, you need to be understanding, because effectively compared to the team that played in the final, the top six is only one man left in that top six, and that's Ryan Rickleton. So that's something that it's disappointing, but there's nothing you can do about it. It gives guys an opportunity.
Exactly. You're missing six guys, 6 Proteas, more than anybody else. That is why the squad is what it is. It's still a good squad. Big tournaments for.
Oh yes, I know who's missing.
For Magala and Sepamla for me.
Yes, Sepamla is missing on that list.
Huge months for Sepamla and Magala. Huge.
Yes, but
step up
also,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, also from a spin perspective, they don't have Pangiso, they don't have Bjorn Fortuin. You've got Tepon Tuli, who's a capable bowler. Ruan Hausbrook bowls off spin a little bit, and Shane Dadswell also bowls. So it's going to be interesting to see how Wandile Gwavu gets these guys together from a starting 11. Like with Western Province, you got to figure out what the starting 11 is. Here, it's a little bit harder. Lots of competition for places. And the average age of the side has now gone younger. At CSA T20, they were nearing 30. Now we're nearing a little bit more about 25, somewhere around there, which is pretty good. Now let's talk about the other two teams in conjunction, because they're the Division 2 teams, not as well known. So for instance, the Southwestern Districts, Jean Duplessis, he's a former SA Under-19 captain, also played for the Cobras. You see Onke Nyaku in Southwestern Districts. He's looking for a home, and I think maybe this is his opportunity to put his name up there. Same with Yassine Valley, who played for the Titans last season. He's also going to be looking to put himself up in the shop window there. A lot of youngsters. Tim, if I look at the Southwestern Districts team, the average age is around 20. They're very young, 20, 22, 23. Not a lot of guys over the age of 25 in the side. So it's what you want to see. And essentially, it is kind of like the Cobras pipeline from the franchise that kind of went there. The star players went all north to Boland and Paarl. Some of the younger franchise players stayed in Western Province, but then those guys who were knocking on the door for Cobras and Western Province opportunities have now shifted out to Southwestern District. And that's how I see this team. Even Peter Nyanaman's younger brother, Andre Malan, so watch out for him. He's also playing for the side.
And Hanno Kutsia, who was a wicketkeeper for a couple of games for the Cobras as well, didn't quite make the mix with the Cobras, so he's also gone back there. But you're going to see a lot of this with the Division 2 sides. I don't mind it at all. They've gone with the youth, with 3 or 4 experienced guys, like your Yasin Valleys, your Andre Malans, just to sort of keep some sort of semblance of experience to the younger guys. It's going to be a good experience for those Division 2 sides. And from a personal point of view, as you say, it's a bit of a out of the shop windows, if you like, for the future.
For all of them, actually.
So it'll be it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that they've gone young with a few more experienced guys.
And then looking at the Northern Cape Heat, they're a slightly older side. You've got guys like Aubrey Swanepoel, 32 years old, who's an all-rounder, bowls a little bit of off-spin there for that team. He's a power hitter. I think his strike rate's 133 and 80 T20s. You've got Jonathan Van Dier, who's played for SAA, played for the Titans. He's played all around the country. Rivaldo Munsami was playing for the Titans last year. Kasim Adams, 37-year-old Kasim Adams in the side. He's played around the country, formerly from Western Province, did play for the Titans a little under the Mark Boucher regime there at the Titans. But you've also got some young players, Orapeleng Motwaring. He's also a very young guy. I'd like to see in his debut season, only played a few games for Northern Cape. Bayer Swanepoel is also a guy who I think is someone that South Africa should be looking out for. I think he's a handy all-rounder and a lusty low order hitter. Slightly older side here, more experienced, and so I think they're the ones who who can cause an upset against one of these other big Division 1 sides. If something goes wrong, they've got the run of the green, they're the home side. So do you see them doing anything, or do you just think the 2 Division 1 sides will just kind of get through the games against these sides?
I think that they won't get through. I think that the Lions and Cobras will have overall T20 cricket, anything can happen. I think overall they'll have too much. The other point to make with teams like the Northern Cape, so we had Sean van Berg on our show. He said I'm going to be playing guys that I've never heard of before. So outside of the guys that you mentioned, there's going to be 3 or 4 guys. There's certainly 3 or 4 guys in the Northern Cape side that I don't know. I've seen very fleetingly on a live stream on Pitch Vision, but in a general sense, I don't know them at all. So the unknown quality could well work in their favour. But I just think overall, Province and Lions are just going to have the too much experience.
And in the battle between these two, because they're the second game on Friday, SWD and Northern Cape, I see Northern Cape kind of shading it through. I know Rivaldo Munsami hasn't had the greatest of time at franchise level. I do think maybe finding that level in the middle might be very good for him. He's going to be they're going to rely on him quite a lot. So too Bayer Swanepoel, as well as Kasim Adams, guys who've played franchise cricket before, to try and get them over the line, where Southwestern Districts doesn't have that those types of players. They're all very young, all ready to prove themselves. I'd say beware the youngsters, but also beware the slightly older guys who've got something to prove, who've got a chip on their shoulder. Because remember, you even spoke to me about, we spoke to Mangi about it, the musical chairs nature of what this provincial structure became was that there were some guys who were fighting for positions in franchises and fighting for opportunities in franchises who didn't get contracts and are now sitting in Division 2, and they're now saying, hey, it's now their opportunity to say, hey, actually, don't forget me. And to a certain extent, just like in county cricket, I know some scouts don't even look at Division 2 in county cricket, or some even selectors for the England national team don't even bother with Division 2 players. But I think this year we might have to go look there, and this is the best place to do it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Particularly when you're going to have the guys that are there. So, for example, SWD, not for this tournament, for the rest of the season, they're going to have Lus deploy. Now, Lus deploy, in my opinion, particularly in the white ball stuff, when he plays in the white ball stuff, he's going to dominate in that division. absolutely dominated. And the other guys start coming back. When Cameron Delport starts playing for Tuskers,
Yes.
he's also gonna absolutely. I expect him to be extremely dominant in that division. So
Yes.
and that when they start to do that, that's gonna rub off on the youngsters. Youngsters are gonna go, that's how you do it. Okay, right. Okay, this is how you do it. Because I think they might be a little bit unsure at the moment. They need that experienced guy who's been around the bush, who knows how to do it in different countries. So that's going to be a huge asset for those guys.
And it's also a massive learning opportunity for those guys to actually get a benchmark, especially the Division 2 teams, to get a benchmark as to what the level is for promotion when it happens in 2 years. And also for them, if they're looking to get a contract at the end of the first year. So it's going to be quite interesting to see when they do come up against Western Province and the Lions, how they play. There will be some diamonds in the rough, so look out for that. And that's the exciting part about this. Just like how we got Tristan Stubbs and Lizo Makosi in the CSA T20 Challenge, these Division 2 sides are going to give us some other incredible diamonds in the rough. I'm waiting for SA Under 19 as well, because you're going to see a lot more, because you get an eye into the future in the pipeline. So that's going to be quite interesting. What's the one thing you're looking out for from a play perspective for this weekend, or something that you're looking out for this tournament that you think if they do this, it'll be a successful tournament?
That's a good question. What do we need? That's the question. What do we need? We need power hitters. We need power hitters. So if somebody in that, particularly in this Division 2 sides, if he can come in and he can dominate, and I mean, striking 140 plus, if it's 26 balls, if you do 26 balls against Basher, Walters, and Nigel Berger and Parnell, I'm going to sit up and take notice. I'm going to sit up and go, I'm going to go, you know what? This boy can play.
Let me tell you something. You're going to see that tomorrow morning. Shane Dadswell's going to do that against Bashir Walters and Wayne Parnell and whoever else you want to bring through, because I did a commentary stint with him in that of his game in the Black Widow final. They lost that game. His team lost that game, but he came through and he was striking at a strike rate of about 250. It was raining sixes at the Wanderers. I don't think it's going to be that much. I think in Northern Cape, the pitch is going to be a little bit flatter. So obviously you won't get the bounce that you would expect. But I do think that Lions team has a lot of power hitters on the back end. So that's going to be quite exciting. And also to see the youngsters come through from that SWD side as well as that Northern Cape side. Let's have a look at the fixtures for this weekend. If you look at every fixture that has a Group A attached to it, you've got Western Province and the Lions starting out, the Northern Cape against SWD following that. Then you've got SWD against Western Province in the Western Cape Derby. Then you have the Heat against the Lions. And then on Sunday, you've got SWD and the Lions starting out, and then the Northern Cape Heat against Western Province. Really all live on SuperSport, so you can watch that. And if you're international and you're watching us, we're pretty much in Australia on free to air, in the US on free to air, not the US, in the UK on free to air, and in India as well. So really exciting to see the next generation, the future of South African cricket, and hopefully we will get guys who will push through and make a name for themselves, and that's what we want. We've got another World Cup next year. I hope this is the basis with which that happens. And also there's an MSL coming up with the 8 Division 1 franchises. So that's going to be also quite interesting for some of the Division 2 teams to kind of get players in and around there. Tim, do you have any final words for this weekend? Any player that you're like, I'm going to watch this guy play, and then we'll just close it out?
Well, as I said, if Daniel Smith gets a game, which I really hope. I hope there was a masterstroke from Five Davids, and he was saying he's not going to get a game, and he does get a game. he's definitely one to watch for from Western Province. He's got enormous ability. As I said, he's dominated schools, dominated club cricket, made 100 on his debut. He's also a very intelligent individual. He's got his head screwed on, lovely time of the ball. So if he gets a game, get the popcorn and settle in to watch him.
I'm obviously from a Lions perspective, Rowan Hasbrook. He's someone that has come through the levels. I think he's someone that we should be watching. Obviously, spoke about Shane Dadswell. Watch Mitch van Buren. I think he's a very, very, especially if the quality of bowling's not that great. He can get it in. He can get it out the park. I'm a Carmi LaRue fan, but that's just me. But then
That's it.
Yeah.
Let's just discuss that one just briefly. That's an interesting one. I'm a huge fan. I've always been a huge fan. Some watchers and listeners might remember. I certainly tweeted it out at the time. Carmi LaRue signs for minor league cricket last year. He was going overseas. It looks like he never actually followed through with that deal. So it's a huge, huge bonus, I think, overall for South African cricket that he's back. It's always good to get people back here playing in our shows. I'm glad to see him back. I'm just glad to see him back.
I'm 50-50 on that because I'm happy he's back. But if you look at that line side, if the Proteas are all back, Carmi LaRue doesn't get a game. And to a certain extent, that's where my worry comes because Carmi LaRue was playing club cricket here. And that's essentially the whole premise of this new structure was to make club cricket closer to provincial cricket. That's with this line side, this is what you see. Dadswell, Van Buren, Carmi LaRue, Josh Richards, all provincial players coming up, taking that step up into the big time, which I'm excited about. But with the nature of the Protea contracts that are there, it makes it a little bit harder. Security, as we spoke with Mangi, you'd want that type of security. So it's going to be interesting to see how bigger provinces manage that, especially with the Northerns. I'm excited to see that Northern side because there's going to be a lot of guys who play provincial cricket who are in and out. But it's a shop window. Put yourself in the shop window, play well, and you'll get through. We've got a couple of comments here from Zanzi Comic Club, so I want to talk about. He says, obviously, Lions and BPL look strong. Thanks, Ravi. And then he also says, Lees du Plessis has the potential to leapfrog plenty of players for a potential national call-up. That is true. Yes. I'm just sad that he's playing in Division 2 because I can picture a press conference where his name comes up and someone goes, but he's playing Division 2 cricket. And then he says, I love the fact that the competition has now expanded to other regions in South Africa. That too. I'm excited to see the Mpumalanga team. I just have my heart is in Mpumalanga. Those who know me will know why.
Just to go into that, I didn't want to discuss the other teams. I've got lots. Keep watching the podcast here. I've got lots to discuss. There was an individual who I'm excited to see in Mpumalanga to see what he can do, but let's wait until Mpumalanga are playing before we get into Mpumalanga.
That will be next week. So we're waiting for this weekend for the teams to come out. And then Yassine Valley, who played for he's injured, I think, for Western Province. So that's going to be interesting. He's got plenty to offer. Yeah. So Tim, look, don't only watch the big teams, watch the smaller teams. Aubrey Swanepoel is one I'm going to be watching from Northern Cape. So too, I think Jean du Plessis, I think he's the most talented guy in that side. And also try to see whether how the resemblance of the Andre Malan to the rest of his brothers, whether he's also like a power hitter or an opening batsman. That's something we're going to wait and see. Tim, thank you very much. That is Group A of the CSA T20 Knockout Challenge. We'll be back on Monday to give you everything that you need to know about Group B. Teams, fixtures, just like we've done now, and discussion. Team B, Group B, it's got the Knights, it's got the Titans, it's got the Mpumalanga Rhinos, and they've got, what's the other team that they've got there? Let's have a look quickly in the groups. They've got the Tuskers, so Cameron Delport, Tim's friend, and all the other Knights players in and around there will be there, and we'll be talking about them as well as the Titans. But outside of that, Tim, thank you very much for joining. Please, everyone, remember to like and subscribe to the One World Sports Radio channel. We're trying to grow this platform. We do cricket, we do rugby, we do anything that is sports related regarding South African sports. So please do that. And yeah, follow us on Twitter and on Facebook and send us questions, and we'll answer your questions on the podcast. But Tim, thank you very much. Myself and Tim and the rest of the team, have a good day and goodbye. And lesale kakahiso.
Hi everyone, I'm Denisha Devnarayan, and you're watching the Full Quota podcast on One World Sports Radio.